Right, the next person we're going to talk to this evening, we don't have any callers at the moment, but I've got David Bain. He's going to be on the line shortly. He's the founder of Aftershock Promotions and recently featured in the Facebook series of A Part of Me due to his traumatic brain injury, which he's recovered from. And he's got an interesting story to tell us. So let's see if we can get him on the line. And should be with us shortly. Good evening, David. Hello.
Nick.
Good day.
Hello.
Is that David Bain on the line?
It is indeed.
Hey, you're live. That's great to hear from you, David. You're live on After Dark. Thanks for joining us this evening.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Now, I've saw you recently on Facebook because there's been an amazing series, A Part of Me, and you were featured on it. Can you tell us about the series and why you were invited to be part of it?
Yeah, there's a lovely lady, Phil, who runs it, and it's to try and get people who have physical or mental illnesses to come and open up and tell their stories so that it can reach out and resonate with other people to try and also connect people to also show that, you know, what you're going through is not, you're not alone.
Okay, so had you seen some of the other profiles before you agreed to do it?
To be honest, yeah, part of my TBI is my memory, so I can't actually remember offhand right now how I ended up. I think I might have just seen it maybe pop up on Facebook or something like that and got in touch.
Oh, okay. So what was the process of like? Did they interview you? What happened?
Yeah, so you go along and she'll talk to you first about what your story is, and then if it fits the project, you'll go along and she takes a few photos and you tell the story, and then there's quite a bit of process that she goes through to write the story and then make sure everything is okay with you and correct and all that sort of thing before it goes to print and gets shown.
Now, you had your incident, a violent incident with your head. Tell us what happened there. Was it about 8 years ago or longer?
No, it's 11 years.
Goodness
now.
me.
The 4th of the 4th, '08. And the reason why I remember that is because some of the crazy things that I've learned to use to help myself is numbers. So 4 and 4 is 8. So if it had been another date, I might have been in a bit of trouble, but to try and remember it. But, yeah, no, so back in '08, I was just out on the town with a mate from work, and I found out a couple of years later on what actually happened because I had no clue. Yeah, I got king hit and fell backwards and smashed the back of my head on the concrete, and because of that impact, it also made my brain hit the front of my skull as well.
Goodness me. I have to ask this. Did you provoke this person?
Well, I ended up talking to the guy a few years later, and apparently he thought I got a bit lippy, but I used to be a bit of a cheeky, jovial guy and just like having a good laugh and having a good time. So whether he took what I said out of context, well, I don't know. I don't even know what was said at the time or anything like that. So.
Yeah, because it's been a huge journey for you since then. Can you tell us a bit about the different stages of recovery you've been through?
Yeah, I mean, I've never fully recovered. I improved over a long period of time. It didn't help that I got forced back into work after a month. And I got put back into 40-hour weeks. And so I was working 8 hours a day. I was sleeping at least 12 hours a day every day and driving, because I lived out in Kaiapoi at the time and working in town. So it was roughly about an hour and a half each day of travel. So I basically had about 2.5 hours a day to myself for a lot of months in the beginning. So I wasn't living, I was just existing. So
I do think that your experience is by far from unique. I think quite often people are sent back to work far too quickly.
Yeah, look, I've started, part of what I'm trying to do now too is become a motivational and educational speaker. I've done a couple of talks, and I've talked to a lot of people that have had brain injuries, and learning a lot about what that whole thing is all about. And there's a lot of similarities. Like, unfortunately now I have, it seems that, well, I have depression, anxiety, and it seems depression seems to come pretty much hand in hand with anybody who has a head injury, because it really changes you, and you go through a whole lot of different emotions of having to deal with it as well. And if you don't have the support, like I felt I didn't really have that support in the beginning, it makes that journey harder.
You'd have to have a very understanding partner. Did it impact upon your relationship?
I wasn't with anybody at that time.
Okay, I mean, that's a mixed blessing, really, because it would have been great to have had that support, but on the other hand, it could have gone quite badly wrong.
Yeah. Well, I've heard about how relationships have split up and all that sort of thing, which is pretty sad. But, you know, some people have stayed together, and which has really been great. But, yeah, it really does change who you are.
Now,
So,
you haven't let this hold you back. I know that you're very, very busy within the music industry doing promotions. Tell us about Aftershock Promotions.
Okay, that was born on the early hours of the morning of the September quake, which is why the name. Because I'd organised a bar tab for a band from Auckland who come and played in Christchurch called Shotgun Alley. And I didn't really know anybody in the music scene. I really didn't know what the hell I was doing at the time, but it was just something that I wanted to do. So they came and played at the Ducks Deluxe. We then had a bar tab at Bourbon Street, Manchester Street. And then, yeah, they'd gone back to the ice day, and earlier in the morning the quake hit. And then from there I got involved with a charity event to raise funds around that, and met a whole lot of musicians and bands and people within the industry, and just kind of found a passion for it. And then come the February quake, I lost my job, which was actually probably a blessing for me, because I was really struggling. And so now I've just kind of, I've got the time to be able to try and do something with it. So that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. So
now, apart from Aftershock, you've also you're quite close with some different genres of music, aren't you, as well, with another entity you formed?
The rock, punk, metal, Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just basically like a sidekick from Aftershock. As the years have gone on, I've been looking into how to expand and do different things. And now at the moment, I'm kind of taking a little bit of time out for myself, because I've been watching a couple of marketing gurus, and they basically, what I've learned from them is I've got the same goal, but I was working forward before, but now what I've done is I've worked all my steps backwards. So now I have all my stepping stones that I can see in front of me, so I know what's direction and how I want to grow it and all that sort of thing. So, so the rock punk metal side of it is basically going to be promoting, obviously, rock punk metal, and then Aftershock is all genres of music, apart from those three.
Now, since I asked you to join us this evening, you've been very busy, and you've actually brought a lot of people over to After Dark to listen to you this evening, and they've all liked the program, so they get the notifications. And myself and the producers would just like to thank you, because you put a huge effort in this afternoon to help us.
Yeah, well, you're more than welcome, because you guys have got me on the show and it's a part of what I do. And, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a huge amount of people. I think it's getting close to about 100 new people, so it's good, you know. And, yeah, it's great what you guys are doing, so...
Well, we did have 273, and now it's closer to 380. So that's in terms of people who've liked the program and received the notifications. So, hey, Dave, thank you very much for being on the program, and best of luck with your motivational speaking and Aftershock Promotions and the other organisation that's got too many words in it. I can't remember. Tell us what it is.
Well, I was actually going to try and be smart and make it about fast money, because it was RPM ANZ, so...
Oh, right, okay.
It doesn't quite fit, but... Yeah, but no, hey, thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it. I just want to take the time to set up what I want to set up, and then I'm going to fully get back into it.
Great stuff. Have a nice evening, David, well, what's left of it, and thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Nick, for having me.